welcome again. So now let's talk about these microshapes. This is a term I came up with because I wanted to talk to you about partial shapes that you can construct on 3 strings. And I think they're useful because, especially if you're going to learn solo guitar, it's more likely to play a partial shape than a full shape, which is more a strumming thing, a rhythm thing. The example I made at the very beginning of the video, I was playing partially the shapes. So practically with this system you can combine all these microshapes all along your improvisation, your song. So practically they are like bricks that compose the song. Apply a microshape, you can apply some variation. And practically you are composing in real time, you are creating melodies just applying this little variation. And this is a kind of improvisation that requires a lot of musicality, not much technique, but it forces your brain to think about the music and to think about a music and to play it in real time, in that moment. So this is a kind of improvisation I like. I'm trying to deepen because I think it's a more effective technical improvisation. So now let's go ahead. Let's refer to the same example I mentioned before about the measure CAGED. This is a C shape, and let's deal with the case of the last 3 strings. So practically the bass string, the 4th, the 5th and the 6th. I have this initial microshape, which is E, C, E. So the 3rd, the root and the 3rd. But as you know, I guess, this is effective as well because practically you can play the C chord like this, adding this G to the basses, which is fine because G is part of the C major chord. So this is another microshape. 5th, root note and 3rd. So let's consider next full shape. So this means that this is another microshape. 5th, root note and 5th. And then this remains here. I consider next full shape. This means that this is another microshape, the lower part of the G shape. So, and this is the root note, the 3rd and the 5th. So this is actually the basic chord, the C major chord at its purest form. So now, if we consider next full shape, I have this, but there is even this other solution. So I leave these 2 notes here and I apply this translation here. So practically this other minor shape is a combination of 2 full shapes. It's not taken from one full shape. And this is root note, 3rd and root note again. Next one, of course, is the classic power chord, which is the lower part of the E shape, obviously. Root note, 5th and root note. Next microshape is this. And why this? Because I have here a full shape of D, which in the 6th has this. So practically it's like this. So be careful, even if you play here, it's better to press with the thumb the F sharp or to do like this. But if you're not able to do this, just don't play the sixth string. This microshape is third, fifth and the root note. So after this microshape I have the beginning microshape again. And an important thing that you should know is that I played microshapes that contains all the degrees, for example the purest, root, third and fifth. This is actually the first inversion. We talked about inversion previously. This is third, fifth and root note, so it's the first inversion. And then the second inversion is this. Fifth, root note and third, which is cool even here. All the other microshapes are shapes that contains a jump that doesn't contain all the 3 degrees of the chord, because for example if we consider the power chord here, the power chord is, as you know for sure, the root, the fifth and the root. So I play the root, I jump the 3rd degree, I don't put it in, I play the 5th and the root note again. So it's important to know about these jumps for 2 reasons, because the fact that a degree is missing gives a particular sound to the chord. So playing a power chord is clearly different than playing a normal chord. And for a second reason, because if I know that this degree is missing, this suggests me that this degree is somewhere in the fretboard and I can use it, for example doing something like this or this. It suggests me in general that the next shape is this or this. See, it's a hint about another microshape which is valid for the songs I'm going to play. So it's important to know these degrees. Knowing these microshapes in terms of degrees, it's important even in order to know what notes you are actually playing and not only the shapes. This example can be done even for minor chords, and I'm not doing all the examples possible, all the microshapes possible, but I'm giving for free a manual which explains all the things I talked about in this video and contains a database of microshapes I came up with for all the cases, for all the strings and for the major and the minor case. And I think it's going to be useful. It increases for sure your vocabulary, your vocabulary of licks and your knowledge of fretboard. So I think it's pretty interesting. I hope you give it a look. So let's talk about briefly the case of minor chords. Let's face again the case of A minor chord. And again the last 3 chords. The first microshape is this. So in this case the root is A. So now this microshape is 5th, root and 5th. This is actually the same of here. So for microshapes that doesn't contain the 3rd degree, the case of major is the same of the case of minor. So next possible microshape is this, which is the lower part of the tricky G shape we saw before. And this is the basic chord, because it has the root, the 3rd and the 5th. If we go ahead, we have the power chord here. And next shape, so I'm playing a power chord, so the minor 3rd is somewhere I can use. It's here, for example, and this means that the next chord is this, which is the lower part of the D minor shape, which in the 6th has this, in a similar way to the D major shape we saw before. And this is the 3rd, the 5th and the root. 3rd, 5th, root. Another possible microshape is this, but be careful because this microshape doesn't contain the root note, because it's third, fifth and third again. It's okay to play it in a context where you play, for example, with other people that plays chords, basses, lines. You are not doing a mistake using this microshape in a context of A minor. But be careful because there is no root in it. So the next one is this. This is actually the lower part of the tricky C shape we saw. And this is the fifth, the root and the third. And then after this we have the starting microshape again. So we can replicate this mindset in all the cases, even for example, these these three strings. And this is going to be, for example, this. I'm not showing you all the possible microshape because it will be a huge video, but there is a manual, as I told you before, this free manual where you can download and have a complete database of all the possible microshape I came up with. Of course you can combine and try in your own, it's okay, but the mindset should be like this. It's important to know this microshape and it's important to know what degrees are they, so that you have an awareness even of the theory behind what you are actually playing. So that's pretty much it. I hope you find it useful and see you maybe next time. I'm planning to do some other videos, some other tutorial videos about other subjects, for example scales, pentatonics, measure scales, or something about percussive tapping, which is actually my field. And hope you find it interesting and see you next time. Bye bye.